Hey everyone, welcome back to the Gung-Ho Book Club, a fair college try of a podcast featuring the thoughts of online randos on books written by people who've done far more for universal literature than we can possibly hope to. Some of them, anyway. My name is Costin Becchiano, but you can call me Kazi, and I'm to blame for most of the stuff happening on this blog, for better or worse. With me today is my longtime friend and self-avowed sword and sorcery scholar, Cowboy Cam Wooten.
Howdy, howdy.
Fair warning, we're adults who like to hang out and use adult language together. We're here to read books and talk shit, and we're just done reading the February 2026 edition of the Savage Realms monthly sword and sorcery magazine. Copious amounts of nonsense, and spoilers follow. Now, Feb 2026 of SRM features 3 stories by 3 distinct authors. First up is Born of Bone by Annie Shee. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The Soldier and the Witch, An Unhappy Home, which is the 3rd in the series by Sean Dunn, and The Executioner's Axe by Carson Ray. We have now made it a year and change of talking SRM.
Yeah.
And I was actually telling you this. It's a year on from the issue that in this year I think I'd recommend for people to get a proper taste of SRM. Which was February 2025, since we now have this handy repository, which you can find on gunghogeeksblog.wordpress.com for the SRM issues we've reviewed. February 2025 includes 5 tales. Cathicon by John Zaremba, Hangovers in Hell by Kel Myers, Black Rain, Grey Snow, and Red Death by Matt Hilton, The Well in the Desert of Lop by Stephen Allen Payne, and the less said about the final one, the better. It is Living Mummies by Robert M. Price, which is a Thongor pastiche. So we've not gone, 5 minutes and there's a gong?
Yep.
I just wanted to mention that I think February 2025 is the most complete, full spectrum take on what you can find in SRM, because it's got Cathicon, a more thinky philosophical piece, which is kind of what John Zaremba usually does. You've got Hangovers in Hell by Kel Myers, which is just bonkers Kara Black stuff.
Yeah, it's like a blend of post-apocalyptic sword and sorcery, Appalachian redneck, military sci-fi, kind of all just bleh.
Jumbled together. I think this one's a little Cthulhu-y as well. Or
yeah.
Near enough, anyway.
Lovecraftian.
Yeah. You've got Black Rain, Grey Snow, and Red Death, which is Corvix by Matt Hilton, and Corvix is always good. I've yet to read a bad Corvix tale by Matt. I'm actually reading his horror anthology that just came out. Really interested to get through that one. Then there's The Well in the Desert of Lop by Stephen Allen Payne, which is like a 4-page ultra short story.
Great historical fantasy, sort of historical fiction, I guess you would say.
Right.
More sword and sandals than sword and sorcery, really.
Yeah, but it's got
still sorcery.
And yeah. And then there's the Thongor pastiche, which has the good and the bad about that.
It sure lives up to the Thongor name. That's all I'll say.
Check back on our February 2025 podcast, which is a 2-parter because there was a Thongor pastiche in the issue.
Yeah, we had to take an extra hour to just rant about there being a Thongor tale.
Yes. So a year on from the infamous February 2025 edition, which I fully believe is worth the... if there's one issue you want to buy for 2025, I believe it's February.
Oh yeah, easily.
Thongor and all. So a year on, we only have 3 tales to get through. Born of Bone by Annie Shee was a very fun opening. Again, I hope I'm pronouncing that properly. It is a coming of age tale that blends into the finding the young one's name, which is it a trope?
Yeah, I would think so, but it's not cringe YA garbage coming of age.
Right. It's not
it's well written.
Well, yes. Yeah, there's no anxiety and whinging about the unfairness of life and a lot of inner monologue like other YA titles might have. It gets right down to business. It features Rava, who is a girl that is part of a tribe, and she's going out into the wild to hunt the beast whose name she will take. This tradition sees the hunter bring back, was it the head, the skull of the beast, or some
That's the
bones?
teeth. The
Teeth.
teeth.
Okay,
Yeah.
teeth.
And she brings
Yeah,
back like a jawbone with the teeth.
yeah. She finds a beast. It's a really it's fairly short, this one, but packs a lot of punch in its runtime, and it has a satisfying end. It's got really great atmosphere. Kind of, I think you were saying it was a little bit zombie or zombie
Ish.
slanting ish. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Which, in general, I find zombie stuff like to be way overdone and boring, but this was really well done.
yeah. The way the creature is presented is very different, I guess, than what you would expect, but also leans close enough to like zombie fare so that you can imagine what she's up against, even though it's
Yeah,
not named in any way.
it's some sort of undead thing.
And it's nice because you wonder what sort of stuff lives in this universe where Rava,
Yeah.
and her tribe exist. It's a nice, it gets the noggin jogging on multiple planes. It's a really nice intro to a fun character, an interesting setting, a very dangerous setting.
Hmm.
She's not given much of a chance to return, actually. And the village elder, as far as I can tell, is her father,
Yeah, seems like it.
who sends her off. And even he doesn't give her much odds or good enough odds to come back.
Yeah, he's like kind to her, but it's kind of like a last sort of moment together, the way it's kind of portrayed.
Yeah, it's like he's made peace with the fact that he's not going to be seeing her again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, and the ending is also the a play on the surprising nature of what she finds, the surprising nature of the fact that she does return with that jawbone in tow. Her what is it? Her, what do you call this? Her feet being taking, why am I not Englishing tonight properly? I just come up with surprising. Her feet stunning, I guess, the other members of the tribe. So much so that, they don't know what the thing is. So the name she is given uh, is Rava of what cannot be named,
Hmm.
and she seems to embrace it. She seems to be really.
Because it's like enigmatic of her. Like she is this like runt of the litter that was never expected to do anything or even survive and all this, and so she's beat the odds, and so she's this incalculable thing, just like the name of whatever the crap this creature is that she killed.
This happens, I wouldn't say a lot, but it happens a fair bit in SRM where we get inspired, excellent even descriptions of beings bordering on that Lovecraftian madness-inducing stuff. And this was a really great way that Annie was able to pull together a lot of component parts of beasts and assemble just this insane horror.
Hmm.
So it was really fun to see this whole story work and unfold and come to an end. And it was really great to see that Annie is one of the authors who we like in terms of responses to the questions.
Hmm.
This issue, the questions were in relation to world building, which in sword and sorcery is a very difficult thing to achieve because, as we were talking last time around, when we did Queen of Mars, you were saying that pulps go by at breakneck speed. You don't always have the time, well, not practically never, but you rarely have the time to really go into cultures and customs and stuff like that. So she was able to do a lot of that while keeping the ball rolling, and in a very short, not very short, but short-ish story.
Yeah, this was not as short as like the Desert of Loptail,
Yeah,
but that tale also managed to do the same thing of just being concise with your word count, but also managing to keep a fast pace and explore world building all at the same time.
Right.
And all the authors, I think, in this issue mentioned that like there's this balance that you have to do in Sword and Sorcery of sometimes you write a story and you have so much backstory that the story never happens because you have too much backstory.
Yeah.
And you just get lost in the murk. And then other ones, it's like there's not enough backstory, so you have no idea what's going on. You feel no connection to anything, and you've got to figure out how to make that flow.
Those can also be fun. You could always do like what was it? Amnesia style thing, like the Gothic games.
Yeah, you could do that.
Have the character rediscover stuff as they go along and as the reader goes through the story as well.
You just want to make sure that you don't do like what the Thongor, where it's like it somehow has this vast history and lore that tells you nothing.
Yeah.
You learn nothing from it, even though Carter spends page after page of just explaining in great depth meaningless information.
It's funny you bring that up because I was reading Annie's responses to the questions, and she says that she pre-plans a lot and she has pages and pages of documents and notes across many different mediums. And that she loves world building. And I think it's the same with Lynn Carter, but he published those pages and pages of documents and notes.
Right.
He was like, I'll just put them here because then, if I need them, they're on hand. Like I've got volumes 1, 2, and 3, and I can just bookmark my notes on anything from physics to history to whatever. Maybe that's why they were disjointed. Maybe these were just his notes that he was...
That should never have been put in, but like they needed more words because they were novels, so it was like, well, I'll just throw all my notes in here.
Yeah, we'll never know, because I think the headcanon is that he had ghostwriters, right? So maybe the ghostwriters did the good stuff and his were just the notes.
Well, the headcanon was that Stephen King
right
ghostwrote them, which I don't think that's actually accurate. However, it's canon.
That's why it's headcanon, that's why it's fun. As much fun as it can be for us to keep whinging on those books, but by God, man.
They're memorable.
Oh, obviously. They live rent-free in my head.
So much to the point that we've discussed, like, doing more, which is insane. We hate these books.
Yes. It's insane that he also has more stuff across different IPs, and they're also similar, like in the same style. But yeah, it's the same style and quality level. That's fine. Yeah. So off the damn tangent train.
Yeah.
Born of Bone is a great debut tale. I hope we get to see more from Annie Sheen in the future.
Yeah, if there's any story that make you pick up this issue, that's the story. The
right story to open, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, like I said, the third in a series by Sean Dunn, which is The Soldier and the Witch, An Unhappy Home, following Silas and Malfi on their trek toward the city, where Silas wants to find his daughter, who was taken there by a priest, sort of fell into cahoots. Is that a word? It is a word, right?
Yeah, into cahoots with the witch, who also happens to be going towards the city for her own purposes.
Which we know precious little about, but we had some stuff, like a bit of a hint of something dropped in the middle of this one and last one.
Yeah, it's like some sort of like deal that she made with the gods to make the world right sort of situation.
She's doing a piss poor job of it.
Oh yeah.
It's like, I don't know how far the fucking city is.
It seems like they're never going to get there.
We both we both like this series that Sean has going.
Yeah, I really like the series.
Yeah, it's like this not Solomon Kane type thing. Interestingly enough, his guns weren't brought up. I think, is he out of shot, maybe?
They didn't really fight anything in this story.
Yeah.
Basically, nothing happens.
It's a time loop story.
Yeah.
And it doesn't really do much for them other than being another detour on their way to the main quest. Like,
yeah, when I first read it, I was like, man, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
And then as it set in my brain, I was like, wait a minute, this doesn't advance the plot at all.
Yeah.
This
Not
was
really.
a, a pointless little side quest.
It's Gwent. It's
Yeah.
Silas will from now on be played by Geralt. And this was just around a Gwent in a random tavern. He made some orans and then he hops back on, hopefully, to the main quest. But it didn't really do much. I can understand the fact that because he was reeling from a grievous injury that he sustained at the end of last story. They're also joined by Cat, which I was actually considering awarding her the Thalaba the Destroyer Memorable NPC Award.
Yeah.
Because she was pretty cool and sweet and memorable. I had a bit of an issue with the fact that she either keeps talking in the first or third person, like intermittently, interchangeably, inconsistently, I think.
I can kind of forgive that just because she's like been in the wilds her whole life. Like she knows how to speak, but
Mhm.
she's kind of forgotten, like, I guess, conventions of
Right.
speaking.
I don't know if it's intentional or not. So if it's intentional to showcase what you just said, then yeah, I can understand it. If it's an editing oversight, then it's
That's fair. It
less,
could be either or.
yeah, less of a good thing. But yeah, that sort of stuck out to me. But also the fact that this was chosen because they could have had a side quest at the edge of the city. Like their side quest could have been finally coming across like parts of this priest's cult, like members of the cult, and like actually starting to track this priest that Silas is obviously like really intent on finding, and really intent on finding his daughter.
Yeah.
And there's an attempt to pose them as this like dysfunctional family. There's Silas, there's Malfi, who we don't know what is in her womb at the moment or was. 'Cause she buries something in the garden at some point.
Hmm.
The garden of this house that they've taken refuge at, and inside which they find all sorts of stuff that is helpful.
Yeah. It's a strange concept, but I enjoyed the house aspect.
There was a like a quadruple Z made for TV movie at some point with a house that like an AI house that a father put together with like the dead mother's voice and tone and stuff like that, and then the house goes haywire and traps them.
Yeah, that's basically the plot of this, except for magic rather than AI.
Also magic and time loop, yeah.
And thankfully, they don't explain how it works, because I don't think you could explain how it works and make it make sense.
That's fine. I think that's fine. That's preferable to
Some long, convoluted, magical explanation.
physics.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. We don't need our hard magic system in Sword and Sorcery.
No.
There's enough like hard. There's enough guns in this one which are grounded enough in reality to add another layer of explanation and disambiguation, and there needs to be a little bit of mystery, which works fine with Malfi and wherever the hell she's buried in the backyard. Is it the fruit of her loins? Is it something else?
Who knows?
Well, I guess we'll find out in the next one.
I definitely still want to read more of this series. I just really hope we don't get another insert side quest here that doesn't advance the plot whatsoever, because this really like killed the forward motion of the series.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the very least, the end of this should have been them leaving the place and getting to the city.
Yeah,
If
I
that
agree.
if that had happened, I would have been like, okay, still very side questy, but the story still moved forward.
Yeah, and the story begins with Silas having a flashback, and the
Which
end
was
of that.
great.
Yeah, and the end of that flashback is he was looking for someone, his Regina. Where was his little girl? And I think we don't really get the urgency throughout the story that intro puts forward.
Yeah, because he seems like at first when he gets up, he tries to get up and move because he's but he still can't because he's so wounded and healing and all that. and you get that urgency in that scene. But then after that, it just completely falls apart. Of just he seems to be just fine with hanging out around this house and living the domestic life.
Yeah, days pass and he just walks the grounds, and he keeps regaining his strength. Like, dude, if you can walk and you're a father and you're looking for his daughter as a father of two daughters, fucking go, dude. Like,
Or at least show like a training montage of him like trying to get his sword skills back up and stuff like that, trying to,
have
get
uh,
back
have
into shape to go fight again.
have Rett Weissenfels strummer put together the music for it. That should be fun.
Yeah, like
Have him
something.
play the bongos on his dead friend's head, because he probably hasn't buried him yet. I'm pretty sure. Shout out to Red.
Also, I was very disappointed by just sidelining Cat Cat. It's like, okay, this cool character that we encountered, and it kind of makes the story, this specific issue, like where it's like they're almost like a family unit, and then it's like, okay, yeah, Cat Cat's just not coming with them. Oh,
Yeah, that was weird. That was one of the weirder things, and it's one of the reasons why, like, I want to say that she was memorable and exciting, but I guess I was more thinking about the idea of what she could have brought if she'd stayed with them and maybe rediscovered how to be with someone. But I guess she's been away from people for so long that she just done doesn't want that anymore. So she's found this house which provides, which is cursed in some way. But it's strange that both Malfi and Silas get attached to her, and there's this sequence or scene, I think, where they're in that dysfunctional family setting, and Silas and Malfi are like what, picturing their lives together with her, this wildling kid that they picked up in the forest the day before or whatever. It was there's some tonal shifts and like tonal choices that didn't work for me, I guess, in this one.
yeah.
It's a better standalone tale than part of a series.
Yes, absolutely. If this had just been a story unrelated to the Soldier and the Witch storyline of just some dude, some witch lady, some random kid they found in a domestic setting, it would be great.
Some dude, some witch lady, and some random kid sounds like a Kara Black story.
Yeah,
Kel
it
Myers
absolutely
should
does. Yeah,
get on that shit.
yeah, yeah. Just making it be in the middle of the series, or even if this had been like the start of the series,
Mm-hmm.
before the quest happens. You know what I mean? Or like the quest gets introduced to them or something. It would have worked, but just as the third part of a series, it kind of derails everything.
Yeah, and then at the end, there's a sequence where they rid a town of three thieves, miscreants, no no good doers.
Because they're the ones that caused the house to be cursed.
Oh yeah. Okay, I remember. But again,
Yeah, but it's a very like, why do they care?
yeah,
I mean, they said, "Oh yeah, Mr. House, we're gonna go do this." But they, how is the house gonna know?
if that breaks the curse, then is Cat Cat going to starve?
I,
Because she, because she stays behind with the house because the house is acting the way
provides.
it does. Yeah, it
Yeah,
provides. There's a spirit in the house that like has everything stocked up, and it wants to be lived in. So if the curse is broken,
but then she's just gonna be stuck in a house, or would she even be stuck? Could she just leave?
yeah, she's just gonna go back to the forest, and the wolves lead her sooner or later.
Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
yeah. The more I think about it, the more I guess holes can be poked. I'm not sure if we missed anything that was perhaps hinted at, well, over our heads, or.
Maybe,
But yeah, as a third entry in this series, it doesn't really change the characters much, because the second one was more impactful than the third. It moved something forward. They were going toward the city. You were expecting more danger.
because it mentioned that we're getting close,
Yeah.
and that like there's these like ravaging like beast men and
Mhm.
things because the towns nearby have been so corrupted or whatever by the
entire
evil.
world is fucked, basically.
Yeah,
So that made sense, and they were headed for the town. But over here, it's just a hit pause, and then it's just hit play again, and you're starting off from pretty much the same point.
yeah, yeah. If you were to just cut this story out entirely and then start off with a part 4 that would just be, okay, he's healed up and they're on their mission and they left Cat behind.
Mm-hmm.
You could have done all of that without this tale.
Yeah, we should check this statement whenever the fourth one comes around and see how how it
If there's
holds up.
anything from it that like is impactful, the only thing I could see would be maybe like the backstory that we get from Malfi.
Yeah, but you could have done that in a completely
In another story, yeah.
Yeah, it's independent of. It was like a monster of the week supernatural tale.
Yeah.
And then at the end, they have a moment where they talk something or reveal something to each other, or share this deep dark thing that they've been holding in. But it can be set against any type of backdrop, because that's why it's a monster of the week.
Yeah, I mean, you could have just took the important bits out of this story, made that be an intro to a different story,
Right.
and then just
ran with it.
Yeah. They killed all momentum.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't have anything else to add, I don't think.
Yeah. Like we said, it's not a bad story.
Yeah.
It's just not a good story to be in the middle of this series.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if the fourth one is if the fourth one was the final one. I think this was too short. Would you? Because it would basically be a trio. It'd be a 1, 2, 3, or maybe that would be more effective to tell the tale at this point. I'm not sure.
I feel like if maybe a third one was a bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what we're calling the third one, which would be the fourth one.
Yeah.
If it would just be like a bit longer of a tale, I think you could work with that.
Right. Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see when Sean comes back and reads us to the fourth one.
Yeah, because we still want to read more of it.
Yeah.
It's still good. I don't remember if there's anything to mention in Sean Dunn's responses in the interview, though. I'm pulling the interviews up.
Yeah, he was very matter of fact. He says he has a general idea as it relates to the character's interaction with the world in terms of how much of the world he knows before he starts writing versus discovering as he goes. And that he keeps most of it in his head. It gets crowded in there.
Yeah, and he mentions that, again, he's built a story with so much backstory that it hurt it because he didn't publish the story.
Right, yeah. He also says the magic is supposed to bend reality and have a cost, and if there are hard rules to magic, the characters shouldn't know them. Which is, I mean, I guess Malfi should know some of them.
Yes.
In this case.
And you can kind of see that she does know different rules and things by, like, the practices that she does.
Yeah, but she's not sharing anything.
No.
Like, she's not being transparent. She's keeping the lid on that mystery firm, which is good for the whole thing, and it's good for the mystery of her.
Also liked how they asked what fantasy world would they like to live in. Excuse me. His answer was like maybe Homer's Odyssey or Dragonlance, and I was like, I don't know if I would want to be around in Homer's Odyssey. That place is miserable.
Yeah, those are very wildly different choices. I feel it's like I'd like to be in a D&D fantasy world or history.
Yeah.
In Homer's time, I'm like, dude, no. What was the life expectancy back then? Like 28?
Yeah, for real. And then you add in the fact of, like, Homer's Odyssey also has, like, all of the Greek gods going around being awful, awful beings.
Yeah.
I don't think I would want to be there.
No, count me out. Count me out.
Zeus shows up and you're screwed. Like, it's literally.
Especially if you're a woman. Like.
Yeah. Or an animal.
Yeah, or that. Keep them butt cheeks tight, Sally. I hear Zeus is in the neighborhood. Fuck. Not again.
But yeah, like you said, the third story is The Executioner's Axe by Carson Ray. And this one actually has chapters within it, which is neat. there's neither good nor bad doing that. Like you mentioned, it is basically a Fafhrd and the Grey Mouser sort of style of tale. Have these people appeared in stories before?
We've not come across them before, but we can check to see.
Because it kind of felt like not the first story you would tell about these people, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think I know what you're saying.
'Cause it felt like you should already know who these people are, sort of.
Well, he's got tales in Carson Ray does in Swords and Sorceries volumes 3 and 6.
You got the one guy whose name is Knox, and the other's name is Copper.
Mm-hmm. I swear to God, I've got a like a virus in my computer, my basement computer or something. It just resets my search to Yahoo instead of Google. So Carson Ray has a tale called Mother's Bones in Swords and Sorceries: Tales of Heroic Fantasy Volume 3, and I googled Mother's Bones Carson Ray, and it's nothing even closely related to Carson Ray. The first result is Digging for Mother's Bones, a guide to unearthing whatever the fuck. A profound exploration of the feminine essence and deeply rooted connection within our lives. It's a healing balm for the collective feminine psyche and other such bullshit. Found some Carson Ray over here. Yeah, I'm not exactly finding
Okay,
synopses for these.
that's all good. Even if it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
But the long and short of this story is that these two dudes, one of them is big and tall, and the other one is small, short.
You know the type.
Mm-hmm. And they're these like bickering kind of buddy cop sort of situation going on.
Mm-hmm.
They're in this town to collect a MacGuffin, and the MacGuffin happens to be an axe, and everybody in the town knows about the axe because the axe happens to be wielded by an executioner in the town. And it's like, oh,
Wouldn't you know it?
that makes sense. And it's kind of like the classic, like the baron or mayor or lord of the village town situation is evil and or crazy or both. And so the place is a miserable place where executions happen all the time. It's a common trope in sword and sorcery. That's all fine. And then it does some like good, the bad, and the ugly type stuff where it's like you put your partner up to get executed so that way you can make money off of it and stuff. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, it was.
The action in it's pretty good too.
There's a lot of chatter between them, like you said, with the buddy cop style thing.
Yeah.
And I think we've had good instances of this before. We had the one with the Khan, the Ulfgar and Hana tale in October 2025, which also had that one had a bit more of a contemporary type of banter. This one kept more to the tone of the period, I guess, or the tone
like
of
a
the genre.
setting appropriate sort of
Right,
bantering.
which is hard to do and still keep it fun because you have to consider their voices because banter flows. It's just two or three or four people taking the piss out of each other, and it basically has to snap and flow and happen quickly, and it helps if it has baggage and if those people know each other. And when you're faced with characters that you've perhaps never seen before, that baggage has to be implied. So, there's a ton of aspects to it that adding the tone of the story to it can make it way harder than sorry, it might actually otherwise be.
Yeah.
So it was fun to see them go back and forth and play off of each other like that.
My only like major complaint is that like so much stuff happens off screen. You don't realize that there's going to be a rebellion. You never got a hint that they were even going to do that. It seemed like the people of this town had all given up.
Yeah, they were very defeated by what was going on and the string of executions that happened and people just accusing each other, and the Baron deciding that yeah, you're right, they did do that, guilty.
Yeah, it's like
Off with their
Salem
head.
witch trials. Salem witch trials all over again, or I guess before.
Will she float or will she sink? And everybody floats in this town. Yeah, yeah, I get what you're saying. I kind of enjoyed the fact so they interrogate someone to find out what exactly is going on. Was it the baker, butcher?
There's the baker because like the baker is this horrible person who accused this guy who once was his wife's lover back before he met his wife of like violating their marriage, even though that like didn't happen. And yeah, they interrogate him. That was a good bit. I like the interrogation scene.
Yeah, the twist at the end
Yeah, the conclusion of the interrogation scene was the best part.
was really fun as well. Yeah. And so they infiltrate, or Knox accuses Copper.
Of being like being with his wife, right?
Either that, or does he accuse him of thievery?
Because he refers to him as horse meat. They make a play on words with that of like that's why they call him horse meat or whatever. Maybe they call him a thief too. I don't know.
Hoss meat.
Yeah,
To make the
Halls.
words sound a tad more exotic. Yeah, lying with another man's wife.
Yeah, and it's supposed to be Knox's wife because Knox poses as some dude.
I can only say it was enlightening, plentiful, and exceptional. The Lady Higgins learned at length how I earned my name. You know, that type of stuff. That's fun.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's the whole good, the bad, the ugly segment of like you put your buddy up there to, you know, earn some money off of it, but then it also brings in like Magnificent Seven vibes of like they've somehow like raised an entire army of this town to defeat people.
Yeah, well, in this case, it's like a spark, I guess, that lights the
Fire of Rebellion.
yeah that. But
Quote Star Wars stuff.
like you said, these people were completely defeated.
Yeah.
So the fact that these two come in and basically cause this tide of change was a bit perhaps out of left field. It didn't feel that removed from reality to me. Sometimes all you do need is a spark to blow up the powder keg.
Yeah, some outsiders to come in and stir stuff up.
Yeah, to not give a shit.
I just feel like there should have been some sort of hint as to that, but like it's never hinted as far as I remember.
Yeah,
it's just they're there. Everyone's miserable. They get the information from the baker,
and then they save the day.
And then then the town revolts.
However many lives they save, yeah. It's the heroes coming in and changing. The being so mighty that they turn things around like that in a matter of a day or 2 days.
It's kind of believable since they're such like charismatic people.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. It felt a little too, like you said, out of left field for that. Not much, but a little jarring. Like the sorceress implications of the story. That was neat. With who the executioner is.
Yes, the reveal of the executioner was also fun. And this is where my wrestling reference comes in.
Oh, okay.
Because the way that the executioner is described when they take off his hood or mask, right? He had a mask.
Yeah, he has a hood, but he takes the hood off already, and he has like a Doctor Doom mask type thing on.
Yeah, so that and the fact that he has like a single white eye that's visible. That's basically Kane. That's Undertaker's brother. Without the actual deformity that also comes with the whole thing. But it was exciting to imagine, good old Glenn Jacobs now in his senatorial or gubernatorial or whatever the fuck he is doing after taking so many chairs to the head.
He's wearing a suit with a Doctor Doom mask on.
Yeah.
With a big magical axe.
He's funnily enough, holy fucking shit, check this out. He's the current mayor of Knox County, Tennessee. I shit you not. Former professional wrestler.
I wonder
how deep this goes.
Yeah, is this a purposeful reference?
That would be really fun.
We'll look up this Carson Ray guy too.
Oh, also, I found out that Mother's Bones by Carson Ray is indeed a Knox tale.
Okay.
Somebody
Okay.
on Goodreads graciously added short synopses for the stories in Sword and Sorceries, Volume 3. And Mother's Bones has this synopsis: the indomitable Knox has lived his entire life for this moment, the recovery of his mother's bones. Is he prepared for the abomination born of sorcery that awaits him? Which sounds fucking fun.
Yeah,
So
that
I
does
gotta
sound
track
fun.
that down and check it out a lot. How do I close this now? There we go. It's a big fucking X, you dumbass.
As are most things on computers.
So the fact that this is the action is extra funny to me because I have my grandmother's bones in a suitcase in the basement here.
Wait.
Not her actual bones. She taught anatomy,
Hold up.
but that's the bit I like to do. It's been honed throughout the years.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I've been trying to convince my wife to let me use the stuff as like terrain for wargaming and RPGs because it's like a skull and like a femur and like some teeth and some jawbones and stuff like that, like really creepy shit.
Oh, that would be cool for like some sort of like colossal ancient beings that are now gone.
That's exactly what I want to do, and I think I'm just gonna take some molds of them and like cast them and do it like that. But
Oh yeah, that'd work.
it's always fun when stuff like this comes up. I'm like, yeah, I got my grandmother's bones in a suitcase in the basement. I can show you if you want.
That's crazy.
Mother's bones. So, also the second story he has in Swords and Sorceries, Volume 6, is also something bones related. And they're listed as a 1 and a 2. So I guess, both of them are Nox.
Dim bones, dim dry bones.
Maybe that's a good place to start with Nox.
Yeah, maybe.
Could be fun.
I found a post from Crimson Quill Quarterly about part 2 of Carson Ray's author interview spotlight, and now I've found his Facebook page.
Is he from Knox County, Tennessee?
That's what he's from, Georgia.
Oh,
so I mean, he still may be aware of this. Is he following any sort of wrestling stuff?
I could just try and get a hold of him.
This is true, rather than me just like creeping on his Facebook profile.
Yeah, I mean, if it is public, it's fine. And he is an author, so we're literally researching to be able to bring this information to the listeners.
Hey, he has good taste. He also follows Little Bubby Child.
Who's that?
It's those like redneck memes that I send sometimes.
Oh, okay, that's where those are from.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. So, yeah, this shit was fun.
Yeah, it's definitely the first story in the issue is the best. This would be the second best.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Soldier and the Witch Part 3 is not the best in the issue.
Obviously. It is not. The second one is the third best story, which makes it not the best story. Carson Ray also says that before he starts writing, he knows very little other than the ending of the story. And he goes back during the editing process to pepper in some key details to make it look like everything had been part of his master plan all along, which was funny to read.
He does have a photo of Hulk Hogan on his profile.
So he's probably aware of Kane.
Who is this guy?
We're going deep.
Who is that guy?
Dear listeners, watch the stream, I guess. Let's see.
Yeah.
That is Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Okay.
I guess that's the Hindenburg.
Yeah, doing that to the Hindenburg.
He's doing a Stone Cold Stunner on a Hindenburg. My life is complete. I had not seen that before. That is fucking astounding. I love it. I fucking love it. Oh my god, that is
so he's
great.
Definitely in the know on wrestling, at least. So
yeah. Oh, that's fucking beautiful, man.
So I'm thinking it's possible that this is a reference.
It could be. I endeavored to find out.
Oh, on the author interview for him, place he wants to be, the Shire. Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
Yep. If you could go to any fantasy setting and live, the Shire. Yep.
Preferably pre Sharky's industrialization of the fucking place.
Yeah.
I guess that's a note that needs to be made.
Yeah. Or at least the movie version of the Shire.
Yeah.
Since none of that happens.
Since none of that happens, and it's just things that may come to pass.
I would recommend picking up the issue.
Yeah, it's I guess we were both deflated by the second one a little bit.
Yeah, it's nothing like the February 2025 issue, which is spectacular.
Yes, it's it's a middle ground of stuff that you can see. Like these are good tales in and of themselves. I guess the way the middle one falters is by contrast to what came before, more so than anything.
But if you're like somebody new and you're just picking this stuff up, you'll have no issues with it.
I still recommend February 2025.
Yeah, is there ever going to be an issue that they come out with that's better than February 2025?
It's got everything, man. For now for me, and I've been going back because I want us to look at all the like the Redger and Natali stuff because it's like I think 13 of them thus far. And I've been looking through older issues. I don't think there's another one quite like that. I may be wrong. I've obviously not looked through them all. But there was just something about it, man. It was just it had a little bit of everything. It was gorgeous in that respect. The debut edition, the January 2021, which we did, was also solid as hell.
Oh yeah. It was a great opener.
Yeah. But it didn't have Thongor.
That's true.
Which is a negative mark somehow. It did also have Kara Black though. It had the Serpent Lord of Bryson Metals, which takes place in Florida.
Yeah, that was a solid one.
That was surprising as well. It was our first contact with Kara Black and Cal Myers, so that was great.
Appalachian post-apocalyptic sword and sorcery, military sci-fi.
Right. That's a say that 5 times over fast. That's about all the time we have time for today. Is that
what?
That's about all the stuff we have time for today. We hope to have you here next time. Remember to subscribe to the blog and the Spotify podcast to keep up to date with everything we're doing. Your following and support are what makes this whole thing even more enjoyable than it obviously already is. Like, we're just, hanging out and talking shit in these books, and it's great. But we always look forward to hearing more people's stuff, more people's thoughts in the matter, so don't hesitate to reach out and tell us how wrong we are. Thanks for reading and listening, wherever if you're checking out the podcasts on Spotify or on the blog, and have as nice a day as you deserve.